So let's start by talking about what not to do if you have a child with autism. Don't spend years looking for answers in diets and protocols and biomedical practitioners and autism mom forums, because you might be wasting the precious time that will actually make the difference between your child getting to a completely different outcome, much more independence, and not seeing as significant results in the turnaround process. So why is that? And I want to say that a lot of moms who come to me to do the turnaround process and become an expert in finding the underlying messages behind their children's symptoms, they come to me when they've tried everything. And that means that instead of coming when and starting with the child is 2 or 3 years old, the child is all of a sudden 5 or 6 years old, and you'll understand after watching this video why that is not a good idea. So according to William Walsh, who's been seeing around 8,000 children with autism, traditional diagnosed autism, and he's been studying them in his non-profit organization and also in his work with the Pfeiffer Institute. According to him, he says that 90 to 98% of all children with autism, traditional classical autism, are also undermethylated. And undermethylation is linked to stimming, it's linked to rigidity, it's linked to all these classical autism symptoms that actually make it really hard for this child to become independent, to live a life without having to be supervised. And that's really heartbreaking for a mom who wants to talk to her child, who wants to see her child get an independent life, work, friends, maybe even a partner, live independently, and let go of that fear of the future where we think, okay, what's going to happen to my child when I'm not here anymore? So when a child is undermethylated, that can actually be addressed with proper nutrient therapies. Now we got to understand that that's at least my experience. I've been doing this work of coaching moms. I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, I'm not here to diagnose or treat or give any medical advice, but I'm someone who teaches moms to become experts by lived experience. But what I've seen over the past many years is that one thing is to know about William Walsh's work and having taken the training by the Walsh Institute, but there are very few doctors out there who actually know how to regulate these things in a way where it's not dangerous, because you can actually make it worse if you don't know what you do. So that's why I'm educating moms to learn what does that look like and how do we avoid making things worse. But according to William Walsh, these undermethylation issues, they cause problems with neurotransmitters. So in some cases, it can cause severe mood swings, depression, eating disorders, rigidity around food, OCD, anxiety, agitation, stimming, rigidity, as mentioned before. And these types of individuals must avoid folates in any shape or form. But they also need to start the interventions early, and you can regulate undermethylation via nutrient approaches by regulating the nutrients that are imbalanced in these children, which is often zinc and B6, which will be low. But there are also other issues like copper to zinc balance, pyrrole disorder is often a piece of the puzzle as well. So this is not something you just want to randomly experiment with. So what's the difference between starting early and starting too late? Let's talk about that. So this is actually the shocking part of this video. You can get more progress in a child who's 2 years old in 1 month than you can get in 2 years in a child that's 6 years old. And that's shocking because many moms wait until the child is 5 or 6 years old to come to me, for example, or to start this journey, because they're doing all the biomed, they're doing all the supplements, the detoxes, and all the things that are all the rage in the autism mom community. And that's just heartbreaking. So what does the statistics say, according to William Walsh, when it comes to helping children past puberty? He actually says it's best to get to the children before they're 3 years old. You can absolutely have results for children who are 6 years old, but as soon as you hit puberty, it's really difficult to have the same significant results of turning symptoms around, because autism is a developmental disorder. So their brains are different, their neurons in the brain are different, and so the older the child gets, the more hardwired their brain and the more fully developed their brain is, the harder it is to actually change these things. So with an older child or an adult, yes, you can improve life quality, yes, you can improve behavior, but the kinds of results that are seen in younger children, which happened to my child as well, which is going from all the classical symptoms to none of the symptoms, that's difficult if you wait 1, 2, 3 years too many. So don't procrastinate, and understand that when you're procrastinating as a mom, it's actually a survival mechanism. It's something that we do biologically because the brain hates change. So if you don't know how to bypass the brain's failure mechanisms, your self-sabotage mechanisms, and the brain's resistance to change, you'll actually fail at most protocols no matter what you do, because the brain will try to maintain status quo, even if status quo is making sure that your child's symptoms are at a certain level. There's a certain level of chaos in the home, a certain level of worry about the future. And that might sound crazy, because why wouldn't we want to help our children? Why wouldn't we want to turn things around? Well, if we were in the jungle, if we were in nature, anything related to change equals danger. So if I was in the jungle and I was in a foreign environment, I wouldn't know where the dangerous animals were, or the tribes that were against my tribe. So my brain is designed to look at change and say, okay, that's dangerous, let's get back to something we know really well. And if autism and autism symptoms and chaos and picky eating and problems and fear and anxiety is your normal, is your familiar, your dysfunctional familiar situation, subconsciously, that's what your brain is going to try to keep you at, because that is your familiar situation. And so that is why so many diets fail, that is why so many lifestyle changes fail, and I don't want that to happen to you. So bottom line, 90 to 98% of children with autism have undermethylation, which it affects DNA expression, it affects neurotransmission, detoxification, enzyme production, and hormones. So all of these things tend to be out of whack. You can regulate that with the right nutrient therapies. There are very few doctors in the world who know how to do this safely. I only know of 2, and one of them is teaching inside my membership. You need to start early, because you can get more progress in 1 month with a younger child than you can get in 2 years with an older child, and you need to start before puberty if you want the real significant results. That doesn't mean that you don't need to start if your child is older than that, because you can always get your child to a better outcome and best possible outcome. And then finally, procrastination has to do with us and our survival mechanisms, our stress type, our brain's failure mechanisms, and resistance to change. So if you want to talk to me about this, send me an email at contact@barefootautismwarriors.com. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, share this video around. It really helps me get this word out and reach more people. And if you want to talk to me, I always say you have to email me, because if you don't know how to take initiative in a way that you actually go to your computer, open it up right now, send me an email, write contact@barefootautismwarriors.com, and help in the subject line. I know I can't help you, because in order to turn these things around, you need to do way more than that. So it's kind of like a test of your ability to change. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.